Hey everybody, Keith with the Trombone Shop at Schmidt Music. It is the beginning of May 2025, and I realized it's been a little bit since I've done a walkthrough of the Trombone Shop here and kind of taken a look at some of our recent arrivals. Over the last month or so, we've actually had a number of really great, exciting instruments on the used end, on the new end arrive, and I thought it might be a good opportunity to grab a couple minutes and kind of do a walkthrough and kind of show what everything we've got in the shop right now. All right, so we're going to start off with our used instruments. So, as some of you may have been in the shop before, might have seen here, we've really had quite a number of used instruments arrive over the last month or so that have, again, really nice additions here. So, anything from a couple of classic Con 88Hs here. We've got a little bit newer 88H. I've got a classic Elkhart era 88H 1967 here. Really nice playing instrument within that right now. We've got a really fantastic, basically like new Bach A47i. So this is part of the Bach Artisan line, if you're not familiar. Again, quick walk through. The Artisans are the modular Bach setups. And within the last couple of years, actually, Bach has done a really nice job of updating this. They've got a lot more bell and hand slide options within this. And this particular one is kind of the classic A47 setup. So it's got the 47 bell, the single bore 547 hand slide, yellow brass outer tooth with nickel silver crook, and it's got the infinity axial flow valve that so many people like here. So we've got the A47i here, I think priced very competitively for being basically a brand new instrument. Really great Bach 36 here, closed wrap, of course. One of the classics in the medium bore tenor realm. Really nice Getson 547. So for somebody looking for, a really great, just overall great playing instrument, something on, for somebody looking to move into their first, large bore tenor kind of setup, a really great option here. The astute observer might have already noticed we've got one of the most unique instruments that we've had come through the shop in the wild, specifically a Holton TR-395 Superbone in silver plate, which I have never seen before here. This is an Elkhart era instrument. So this is after Holton moved out of Elkhorn, and they moved to Elkhart around 2008 or so here. Unfortunately, the serial numbers get kind of weird at that time, so we don't know the exact date, but we can get some approximate ideas here. And this is, this is really a closet instrument. It's astonishing. It's, somebody had purchased it and basically put it away. It's been played a handful of times here. It's in amazing condition. So again, one of the most unique horns we've had come through here as of late. And by the way, a lot of these instruments we are working on getting up on our website. It's kind of an ongoing task there. So if you see anything here, you have more questions about, feel free to reach out here. I've got a really great 1964 Olds 020 valve trombone here. This is one of the setups I love where it was the combination hand slide and valve setup. So you can use either with this setup. We saw so many makers from Olds, Con, King. I believe I've seen Getson, who maybe did this at that time period where, again, it just gave you an instrument with more versatility. You could use the valve section, you could use the hand slide section, just, for different, different genre settings, for different, different sound usages you may be looking for here. And this is a really great playing instrument. The hand slide portion is a little bit tight. I love how the valve section plays. I think it's a great playing little horn. It uses that really unique Olds kind of quasi medium bore where it's more like a 515 bore, so it opens things up in a really, really nice way here. On the other end, we've got a Holton Special 1914 valve trombone here. But it's a great playing little horn. It's on the small side. It's old enough. The shank size for it is even smaller than a typical small shank. So the person who had this actually ended up taking a Dennis Wick mouthpiece and turning the shank size down to fit. So yeah, unique little instrument, but again, really, really great playing instrument. And I think at $700, I think it's kind of a steal for somebody looking for a really functional valve trombone here. Got another Olds here. This is Olds Ambassador here, so small bore tenor with F attachment. Of course, this has got that really unique Olds, closed wrap within that they're, people kind of recognize immediately with all of this here. Again, great playing little horn within that. The Ambassadors as a lot of folks know, are renowned for being great playing small bore tenor trombones. They were just simpler designs, but they were built by the same old crafts folks who were doing the supers and the operas and the recordings and all of their other pro level horns there. So really nice plain little horn here. Got a a super, a Selmer Paris Special 20. So this is obviously from Selmer in Paris, France. One of the, they've gone through kind of a variety of small bore tenors over the years here. Yeah, really nice plain little horn. I really like the patina. Classic Con 4H. So this is a 1928, a little bit different 4H than some of the later instruments. It still has, and of course it's in this really beautiful kind of media blasted silver plated finish. It has the gold wash on the inside of the bell here. It is an instrument of the era. It's built a little bit heavier, so it's got a little bit more heft to not just the weight of the instrument, but to the the sound response as compared to the 4H's, for example, as we started to get into the later 30s, into the 1940s. But still a really great playing little instrument. You may have seen this in a couple different videos here. This is an Olds M. Olds didn't really have models numbers at that time. This is a 1921 Olds M. Tuning in slide here. It's a deceptive little horn. It plays a lot more open than an instrument of that era might expect it to be there. So, got some really great used horns, but obviously when we start getting into the new front, we've got a number of really great additions as of late here. So right here we have our Getson collection right now here. So anything from the classic Getson 1052 bass trombones. We've got both the 52 FD in yellow brass and the 52 FDR in a red brass here. Again, obviously these are a classic for people looking for that, a really great intermediate playing trombone. For me, it really bridges the gap between, an intermediate level bass and a true level bass. I mean, especially for somebody who's looking for an instrument to do a lot of doubling with, they want to have an instrument that has, some of the efficiency of the rotor, but at the same time, you get this wonderful balance of sound. The 1052s are absolute workhorses for that. Coming along here, we've got the classic, just one of our absolute favorites here, the 4047 ET large bore tenor trombone, the Enzo Transiani model here. I've done videos on this. This is a great playing large bore tenor, one of my favorites in the shop right now. We've got both of the Getson 3508 small bore tenors there, both the yellow brass and red brass models here. As we may have talked about before, the 3508s are one of my absolute favorite small bore tenors. I think they're just exceptionally well balanced instruments. I like that they've got a warmth to it, but at the same time, you can really get some zing out of them. Just amazingly responsive instruments. So kind of coming along, we're going to head over to our bass trombone wall here right now. And right now we've got a number of custom instruments from a whole variety of makers on order, but right now we do have in stock pretty much the full line of their Q series instruments right now. The only one we're waiting on at the moment is the gold brass rotor setup, the 36 GR, but we have all of the others. We've got the 36 YA, we've got the 36 GA here with the axial flow setups. We've got the fantastic playing 36YR in yellow brass, and then we've got both of the Eastman rotor models here. So this is the 848 and the 848G and gold brass. These have been really great instruments, for people who are looking for an accessible entrance into the bass trombone realm. We've had a number of schools, institutions who have purchased these. They're cost effective, but they've got the Eastman quality and the Shires, designs behind them. So really, really great options there. Coming along, so we're going to start moving into our large bore tenor realm here. A couple of the classic Yamahas. So we've got the Yamaha 882, second generation GO. So with the second generation, they made a few changes to the linkages here. The classic Xeno design. We've got the fantastic plate 882 OD with cut bell here, detachable bell flare. Again, this is one of my sneaky favorites in the shop right now. For those folks who are asking, Yamaha still does not have a case included with these. However, if you've seen a couple of my videos, we've highlighted the new ProTech cut bell tenor caser, with which ProTech did some really nice collaboration with Yamaha on. So the ProTech cut bell cases work wonderfully with the Yamaha cut bell large bore tenors here. So we're going to scoot through, and actually we're going to head over to the middle here where we've got our display of SE Shires large bore tenor horns. And as you can tell, we've got several here. We've got the full line of their Q series tenors, their axial flow setups, their rotor setups, the fantastic playing TBQ Alessi model. And again, the Q series instruments continue to be such a go-to for so many players. You know, for the players that they work for, they're just amazing playing instruments. But we're actually doing really well on our custom large bore tenors right now as well. So we've got 4 different Shires custom large bore tenors. First one, this is our most recent arrival here. This is the TBRS Ralph Sauer model. This is, I mean, truly probably one of my top 5 large bore tenors out there, period. And it is the instrument that I really kind of give credit to starting the modern development with the cut bell. Now, outside of Holton and some of the work that Roy Lawler did, really this was the first modern instrument that featured the cut bell, and in a lot of ways, like what it brought to the table in terms of sound response and what people saw in this, I think really proved to be, again, a revolution that we've seen take across, you know, all of our instrument makers over the last 15 years. So we've got the TBRS, we've got the custom Alessi model here. So we've got the Q series model back there. So this is the custom version of it. You know, I've done a video on this horn here. This is again probably in my top 5 horns right now. We've got their custom setup. So this is the kind of the classic, you know, TBSC Shires custom setup, you know, with the bell, hand slide setup we see from Lyler Customs. But of course, this has got their famous, or depending who you talk to, maybe infamous, twin valve. The twin valve is one of my absolute favorite valves. It doesn't work for everybody, but there is just such a balance in airflow for me. The twin valve gives this wonderful weight to the response. This, again, to me, it's a really great classical valve that works really well for me. And then we've got their classic vintage New York setup with axial flow valve. So this is going to be their Bach style bell here. You know, Bach style 547 hand slide with bass crook here. It has their X tuning slide for a little bit more, you know, a little bit more resistance on the tuning slide. And then of course with the Shires axial flow valve here as well. So moving on through to more of our large bore tenors, we've got Con 88Hs, the classic, the 88H and V, their new vintage, and the classic 88HO. We've got 4 different Bach 42 setups, everything from your classic 42BO to the BOG with gold brass. We've got their BOF with the open flow valve. I recently did a video on that, and again, I always described it, it's a Bach that doesn't play quite like a Bach. Boy, with the right kind of airflow and efficiency, I think it's a wonderful playing horn. And then, of course, we've got the classic 42A with Hagman valve here as well. Good. Working our way through. Now we've got, you know, one thing I don't talk about as much here, but this is a big part of what a lot of folks are looking for, are intermediate level instruments. So we've got a good selection of intermediate large bore tenor trombones from our Lake City design right now, which we've talked about a little bit. Actually, we're going to have some exciting things coming up with the Lake City instruments. I've got some development work we're doing right now that I'll hopefully get a chance to share in the coming months here. We've got the full line of the Eastman large bore tenors here, the 848s and the 828s rather, and the 829s. The 828s are their rotor setups with yellow brass and gold brass bells. The 829s are their axial flow setups, again with yellow brass, gold brass. These all have been exceptionally popular instruments right now. One of my favorite kind of entry-level intermediate large bore tenors right now, the 428 G, and actually they have just went out with a very happy customer yesterday, their MG, the medium bore model. Both of these are fantastic for somebody looking for that entry-level intermediate large bore tenor trombone. The build quality is fantastic. I love how they play. I really, really do. So medium bore, we always try to keep at least a couple medium bore options in. So here we've got the classic Bach 36BO here, right? This is the tried and true tested professional level medium bore tenor trombone. And then finally, heading to the small bore tenors. So we're actually doing really well on these. Obviously, we already highlighted the Getson 3508s here, but I also have both of the Yamaha Pro small bore tenors, the 897 and 891 here. Of course, the 897 is the little bit smaller. So the 480, 490 dual bore kind of stuff. So their version of the 2B. I've talked about this horn. I love how it's just this wonderful balance of color. There's more warmth to it than you might expect out of that size. And then, of course, the go to the 891Z, right? This has been one of the staple pro level small bore tenors for years and years here. Going through, got the SE Shires, the TBQ 33. So this is the Q series small bore tenor. This one took a little bit to start catching on, but I think more and more people are really seeing it as a true pro level small bore tenor trombone. It's been a real favorite in the shop. We've got the classic King 3B. For those of you who know me a little bit, they know I'm a 3B player, so I always have to keep at least a couple of Kings in the shop here right now. We've got a horn that actually I'm a little surprised it's still here, the Greenho GC2-Y here. So this is the Greenho, con setup, really kind of based after the classic 6H design. This one's in yellow brass. It's a wonderful plain example of the GC2 line here. We've got the Butler. I have one of my Butlers is out at another one of our stores right now, but we've got the C5 in here right now, which is their 500 bore model here, and it's good. People continue to love how the Butler instruments are playing. We're actually excitedly waiting on our next available bass trombone here, C12 to be arriving as well. We've got the Bach LT16M. Right, so this is the classic Bach lightweight design, right, straight 509 bore here. This is the instrument that Bill Watrous made so popular, so familiar to us here. And then finally, actually, it's been a really busy couple months for alto trombones. We've had a number of head out the shop here, but we've got one of our Lake City altos, which again, a lot of people have really enjoyed as an entry-level alto. And we do have a whole variety of, of Shires altos and some other stuff that we are working on getting in, hopefully in the coming weeks and months. So I hope you enjoyed this little sneak peek behind the shop here, kind of going through what we've currently got in. As I said, we're going to be working on trying to get our website updated so that we have all of this reflected. But if you saw anything in the video you have questions on, you want to reach out about, please feel free to do so. Obviously, you can leave comments in the video here. You can reach right out to the shop here. So if you email trombonesshop@schmidtmusic.com, you can find us there. Of course, you can find the Trombone Shop on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram. Look for us out on TikTok as well. So feel free to reach out with any questions or anything. As always, really appreciate you watching. Have a great day.